Hello, I'm Ashley Miller, and this is prompt 3 of my capstone. Today, I will be discussing a critical challenge that many of our schools face: low ELA performance on end of grade assessments. Recent data, particularly from the 2023 Georgia Milestones and national data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, also referred to as NAEP, indicates similar declines in early literacy performance across the country. Addressing this issue is crucial as it affects not only the academic trajectory of our students, but also their long-term opportunities. The challenge of low reading performance on EOJ assessments in Georgia centers on two main aspects: the prevalence of struggling readers and interventions and reforms. The issue of reading struggles among third grade students is prevalent both at the state and national levels. In Georgia, the 2023 Georgia Milestones ELA assessment revealed that only 39% of third grade students were proficient in reading, underscoring the urgency of addressing early literacy challenges. This statistic is particularly concerning because research consistently shows that students who are not proficient in reading by third grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school. On a national scale, the 2022 NAEP Criterion Reference Assessment reported that only 33% of fourth graders performed at or above the proficient level in reading. This marked a continued decline in reading performance impaired by disruptions from the COVID-19 pandemic. The downward trend in early literacy scores at both the state and national levels highlights the critical need for intervention, as reading proficiency by third grade is a significant predictor of long-term academic success. In response to widespread reading struggles, Georgia implemented the 2023 Georgia Early Literacy Act, which mandates universal screening for reading proficiency in grades K through 3rd, and customized interventions for students who are struggling. This legislative reform aims to improve reading outcomes by ensuring early identification and targeted support for students. The findings from NAEP align with Georgia's 2023 Milestones data, which reveal that 61% of third grade students were reading below proficiency levels. These statistics highlight the broader national issue of declining early literacy, despite interventions like the Georgia Early Literacy Act. The Act's emphasis on universal reading screeners and tiered interventions reflects the state's proactive approach to combating this national challenge. This challenge is multi-layered due to various factors. First, improving reading proficiency requires substantial systematic changes, including enhancing teacher training, investing in reading coaches, and adopting high-quality instructional materials. However, these solutions are resource intensive, both in terms of finances and logistics. For example, Marietta City Schools invested $7 million in literacy reforms, including hiring reading specialists. The link between early literacy and future academic success also creates pressure for quick and effective interventions. The low baseline of reading proficiency further increases the challenge, as a large percentage of students require interventions, putting a strain on school resources. Different stakeholders offer varied perspectives on how to tackle low reading performance. Educators and administrators often emphasize the need for structured literacy approaches and professional development to equip teachers with the necessary skills to improve student outcomes. The Georgia Early Literacy Act's focus on structured literacy instruction aligns with this viewpoint, as it mandates professional learning and resources for kindergarten through third grade teachers. Policymakers stress the importance of funding and statewide strategies. The Georgia General Assembly's legislative response through the Early Literacy Act and ongoing support through Georgia Council on Literacy reflects a policy-driven approach that emphasizes structural changes. Parents and community members may highlight the urgency of addressing learning gaps intensified by the pandemic. They call for transparency in how schools implement interventions and seek clearer communication regarding their roles in supporting literacy efforts at home. Overall, while there is a shared understanding of the issue importance, the solutions require collaboration from all stakeholders, long-term planning, and significant investments to overcome the challenges of low reading performance in our state and within the nation. Low reading performance on EOG assessments has been a significant issue in my classroom and within my school system. In 2023, 33% of third grade students in the school scored at the developing, proficient, or distinguished levels on the ELA Georgia milestones. By 2024, this percentage had increased to only about 42%, which suggests some improvement, but the majority of students are still not meeting proficiency standards. In my classroom, I saw a significant shift in reading abilities. In 2023, 81% of my students, who were primarily on-grade level readers, scored in the developing, proficient, or distinguished categories. However, in 2024, only 55% of my students reached those levels, signifying a stark decrease. This decline is partly due to the fact that more than half of my students in 2024 were reading 1 to 3 grade levels below, with 2 students requiring special education services. This shift created a significant challenge in maintaining high ELA performance. While I had a gifted cluster both years, the reading proficiency levels in 2024 were significantly lower compared to 2023, further highlighting the broader issue of struggling readers across the school system. In contrast, Teacher G, who also taught a gifted cluster in 2024, had 74% of her students score in the developing, proficient, or distinguished categories, within the majority of their classroom reading on or above grade level as shown by their Lexile scores. This comparison emphasizes the varied reading abilities across gifted clusters and the increased challenge posed by having a larger percentage of below grade level readers in my class in 2024. This data demonstrates that despite efforts to improve reading outcomes, a significant portion of students still required additional interventions. Teachers like myself, who face classrooms with varying reading levels, found it increasingly challenging to maintain high performance as reflected in the 2024 scores. In fact, the majority of third grade classrooms, including mine, had the highest percentages of students scoring in the beginning reader category, with only one class showing a lower proportion of beginning level readers. This issue reflects not only a classroom struggle, but also a school-wide challenge of improving early literacy and addressing the learning gaps many students face. Throughout this school year, I leveraged data from iReady reading assessments and the Amira Dyslexia Screener to help colleagues and families understand the severity of reading challenges at our school. The Georgia Early Literacy Act, also known as House Bill 538, mandates the use of Universal Screener, which we implemented as part of our district's new literacy approach. These tools provided valuable insight into the reading proficiency levels of our students and allowed us to identify those at risk for dyslexia or in need of reading interventions. I communicated this data during parent-teacher meetings to better engage families in supporting their children's literacy development at home. Artifact 1 on this slide is a screenshot of the iReady assessment data from my current classroom administered in August. The data shows that 54% of my students are developing, proficient, or distinguished readers when aligned with ELA EOG descriptors, while 47% are beginning readers. This data highlights an ongoing concern with reading ability in third grade, consistent with my school's grade level data from the 2023 and 2024 EOG results. It further emphasizes the importance of implementing literacy initiatives to support students' reading proficiency. I integrated the findings from iReady and Amira into my instructional practices by tailoring small group instruction based on individual student needs. For example, I used the screener data to group students for tiered interventions, providing targeted remediation for struggling readers and enrichment activities for proficient ones. Additionally, I incorporated literacy strategies into all subject areas, embedding ELA skills in social studies, science, and math lessons to promote cross-curricular learning. To further support my English language learners, I utilize Imagine Learning to visualize concepts and language structures alongside the Elevation program to provide personalized language support and progress monitoring. This comprehensive approach helped strengthen students' reading comprehension and language skills across content areas, leading to improved engagement and reading performance. Artifact 2 on this slide is a screenshot of iReady's instructional grouping created from the benchmark assessment scores. The small group lessons are customized to address students' literacy needs, and the program offers instructional materials to support both educators and students in advancing reading skills. As part of my school's professional development, I am in the process of completing the required 10-module Cox Campus, Georgia literacy academic courses. These modules focus on best practices in literacy instruction and reading interventions, which I share during our school's collaborative community meetings led by the Georgia Department of Education representatives, county literacy coaches, and our local academic coaches. In these meetings, we discuss the literacy challenges using Scarborough's reading rope to better understand the complexities of literacy development. The training equips our team with strategies for implementing the mandated 120-minute uninterrupted literacy block, which emphasizes phonics, vocabulary, reading, writing connected to reading, and protected small group and independent work time. I also facilitated discussions with our RTI coaches on how to use universal screeners data for tiered interventions and small group instruction, ensuring our school's approach aligns with the requirements of the House Bill 538. Artifact 3 on this slide is a screenshot of my current classroom's Amira benchmark scores. The data reveals that 4 students require interventions, especially when considering other factors like iReady and access scores for my ELL students. While this assessment alone does not determine the need for interventions, it serves as an important part of the overall decision-making process for identifying students who need additional reading support. In conclusion, addressing low EOG reading performance requires a multifaceted approach. By leveraging programs like iReady, Amira, and Imagine Learning, specifically for our ELL students, we can provide targeted support that meets their unique needs. Integrating ELA into other subjects not only reinforces literacy skills, but also promotes a more cohesive learning experience. Additionally, utilizing resources such as EPIC for digital books, maintaining well-stocked classroom libraries, and implementing Beamstack for digital book logs and classroom and/or school-wide challenges can significantly enhance reading engagement among students. By consistently using data to inform our practices, we can create an effective and supportive environment that encourages all students to thrive in their reading journeys. Thank you for your attention, and let's continue to work together to support our students' literacy development. This concludes my prompt 3. Thank you for listening.